This is an urgent, crucial 360 News special report with continuing coverage of the catastrophic crisis unfolding in Gaza. I'm Amy Johnson reporting from our headquarters. The situation remains at a fever pitch tonight as a 7-month war between Israel and Palestinian militants shows no signs of ending, despite renewed ceasefire efforts. What brief hopes were raised earlier today were quickly dashed when Israel dismissed a proposed truce deal that Hamas had announced accepting. The militant group controlling Gaza said it agreed to a phased ceasefire proposal brokered by Egyptian and Qatari mediators. But in a statement, an Israeli official claimed Hamas had only accepted a softened version that contained far-reaching concessions Israel could not agree to. This upended expectations that the first phase involving a 40-day temporary truce and a partial swap of prisoners for hostages could provide a much-needed pause in the devastating 7-month conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu affirmed his cabinet had approved expanding large-scale military operations in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, which is viewed as Hamas' final major stronghold. He defiantly vowed the offensive would go ahead to increase pressure on Hamas, regardless of any hostage deal. In a shocking and ominous move earlier in the day, Israel had already ordered around 100,000 Palestinian civilians to immediately evacuate parts of Rafah. Disturbing scenes emerged of families fleeing in panic with just their belongings, adding to the over 1 million displaced Palestinians already taking shelter in the city, more than half of Gaza's total population of 2.3 million. Aid agencies have warned that a sustained Israeli assault on Rafah could trigger the deadliest phase of this war by disrupting the very humanitarian operations keeping Palestinians alive. Over 34,000 Palestinians have already been killed by Israeli bombardment, 2/3 of them women and children. Hundreds of thousands in northern Gaza are already on the brink of famine. Outbreaks of disease have worsened the crisis caused by the near-total destruction of infrastructure from 7 months of Israeli airstrikes and shelling of the densely populated coastal strip. In a phone call, President Biden directly pushed Netanyahu to hold off on any ground invasion of Rafah, reiterating America's opposition unless Israel can show a credible plan to protect Palestinian civilians trapped there and allow aid to keep flowing. However, the Israeli leader remained defiant, invoking the Holocaust in a speech accusing the world of abandoning the Jewish state. He vowed military action in Rafah would proceed, regardless of international pressure and opposition. Raising tensions even further, Netanyahu's government took the extreme and widely condemned step of shutting down the operations of Al Jazeera, the Qatar-based news network in Israel. The move, which saw Al Jazeera go off air and its Israeli offices closed, came after the network's correspondents provided extensive live coverage from inside Gaza documenting the civilian suffering caused by Israel's bombardment. Al Jazeera decried the shutdown as a criminal act and vowed to pursue legal action, while press freedom advocates blasted it as an unacceptable attack on independent media during a major conflict. This latest eruption of Israeli-Palestinian violence, some militants from Hamas and other Gaza groups launched coordinated cross-border attacks deep inside Israel on October 7. The deadly raids killed over 1,200 Israelis, mostly civilians, and saw hundreds of others taken hostage in scenes reminiscent of past traumatic events. Israel responded with a massive military campaign of airstrikes and artillery barrages against Gaza. But the offensive has turned into one of the most devastating chapters of the decades-old conflict. Entire residential neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble, with schools, hospitals, and other crucial civilian infrastructure destroyed. While both sides have long-standing grievances and rationales, it is innocent civilians who are bearing the ultimate brunt and paying the price. All efforts towards a lasting ceasefire and dialogue to resolve the core issues must be urgently pursued to prevent this tragedy from spiraling even further out of control. Humanitarian access to the battered region is also critical, with the United Nations and aid groups describing the situation in Gaza as catastrophic and pleading for emergency supply deliveries. This has been a crucial 360 News special report providing live coverage of the escalating crisis between Israel and Gaza. Please stay tuned as we continue to monitor this dire and rapidly unfolding situation. I'm Amy Johnson. If you would like to continue to receive our news coverage, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Farewell for now.